GMGP, good morning, good people. Y'all could have been anywhere in the world, but y'all decided to wake up with us. You're sick. You're sick in the head. There's a lot of fantasy football shows out there, but I promise y'all, they not like us. Brock Bowers, you looked a little quicker than fast. What does that even mean? Redraft, dynasty, best ball, high stakes, we got you covered.
And that's MVS and Justin Watson.
With some of the dopest tools designed to help you cancel out the noise and dominate your leagues.
If there's a white wide receiver named Antoine, sign me up.
Maybe it's cultural. I don't know. In season or off season, rain, sleet, hail, and snow,
comma, semicolon, period, next sentence.
to bring you the most actionable and entertaining content on YouTube. You don't go buy the dip on the Titanic.
Quarterback that you love, D-Bro. One of the best values in fantasy football.
Prop bets with my man Jay Rich.
Yes! Let's go!
So wipe the crust out of your eye, get you a cup of coffee. It's time to wake y'all asses up with Ray
And Jay.
in the morning.
My God.
How good is he? How
He's so
good is he? Let's get it. GMGP. Woo! It is Monday, October 6th, 2025. Y'all started to wake y'all asses up with myself and my dog, my G, my brother from another mother. Y'all know who he is. The Canadian Jordan Richards himself. This is Wake Up with Ray and Jay every Monday, every Wednesday, every Friday right here on the channel. If you're new to the channel, y'all got to do one thing. Y'all got to show some love. Show some love, hit the thumbs up button, like, subscribe, and most importantly, engage with the good people in the chat. They already got it popping this morning. Jay Rich, they are excited. I see people talking about Rico Dowdle. Rico getting some love in the building. 200 yards, my goodness. Rico Dowdle went off against Miami. We got Greg already saying, hey, I told y'all. Greg said, Greg's using the Trinity more than me, and I built the tool. He said, I told you, you get Diggs while you have the chances. Trinity is going to be looking nice. Yes, Stefon Diggs Vintage Diggs game last night looking good. All City 617. What's going down, squad? GMGP DD in the building. We got Waffle House in the building. Jeff, I see my dog, man. The Nick Stan in the building. Tyler in the building. Alex C, Gabe, Jackie Moon. Hey, Egbuka, JSN, the Ohio State's wide receivers putting on a clinic yesterday. We're gonna talk about him in a minute. I'm not talking about the movie that I heard was very, very bad by Jordan Peele, Jay Rich. I was on the fence at I like Jordan Peele. I was on the fence about him. I heard it was very, very bad. Not a good movie. Probably not gonna be one of the football classics that we talk about up there with the Little Giants, up there with Any Given Sunday, the program. Probably not going to be up there. But how are you doing? How was your weekend, big dog?
Weekend's always good, Ray. Weekend's always good when I stay up and watch Sunday Night Football and we get a big W, right? We got Money May at the helm.
You didn't even have confidence in your boys going into the game. I picked them. And then you've got the audacity to wear the jersey today, huh? Huh?
Look, when he was drafted 3rd overall, and I made a bunch of money betting him to go 3rd overall, I bought the jersey and I said, this is our quarterback. And for, I'd say what now, probably going on 3 years, I told you, this could be our Justin Herbert. And you guys know how much I love Justin Herbert. I am so sure that I told you that. I thought he could be a Justin Herbert type of quarterback. And right now, let's be honest, he's playing a little bit better than Justin Herbert. But you are correct. I did think the Bills would win. I didn't think the Pats would be ready for this game. But it's upsetting because, Ray, I look at the schedule and I'm like, man, that Raiders loss, 20-13 week one. Man. We could be 4-1 right now and feeling even better on top of the fact that Steelers loss, all the turnovers. Like, this is a team that, again, I'm not saying they should be 5-0, but the games they lost were definitely very winnable, and to win a game versus the Buffalo Bills might mean the Patriots are playoff bound this year, but not going to get ahead of myself. Just happy that we got the Saints and Titans on the schedule for the next 2 games.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't know why you're happy about that. 2 teams that are on winning streaks right now. You better not sleep on the New Orleans Saints or the Tennessee Titans. We'll talk about maybe both of those teams, or at least one of those teams, as we move through the show. But Jay, we got a little bit of injury news to talk through. A little bit of injury news. Let's get the ticker on the board, stats and recap from week 5 on the board. Some injury news, some more concerning than others. Let me just hit you with what we got. Omarion Hampton dealing with a foot injury, and I saw this morning before the show this is something that could sideline him for a couple of games. So nothing official yet. Don't want to fearmonger. Don't want to cause any panic, but be prepared to be without Omarion Hampton a little bit. I saw him on the sidelines trying to get things ready to go in the game. Didn't really happen. Hassan Haskins was on the field. Kamani Vidal was on the field. And right now, the way that we were feeling about LAC, 3 games into the season, back-to-back losses, one on the road, one at home, versus teams and opponents, which I think they should have beaten. I think the injuries are starting to catch up with him up front, specifically. You know, the 2 tackles being out, Mekhi Becton banged up. Justin Herbert didn't play his best versus Washington. We may get to that game a little bit later. Darius Slayton going to miss some time, it looks like, with a hamstring injury. He was knocked out of that game for the Giants. Grant Calcaterra, the backup tight end for the Eagles, banged up. Tyreek Woolen, cornerback of the Seattle Seahawks, concussion. Terrion Arnold, shoulder injury. Landon Dickerson, big loss
injury
for Philadelphia Eagles. He got hurt again in that game versus Denver. I don't know how much time he's going to miss. It does appear that New England Patriots, your Patriots running back and primary kick returner Antonio Gibson, suffered what looked like a bad injury, man. That one just, dude, watching him walk off the field in tears, just knowing that he's had to come back from injury before, how tough that stuff is to bounce back from. You could just, you know, it just hurts to see that, man. As somebody, it's just tough to watch that whenever they know, like, damn, like, here we go
right
again.
away.
Yeah, like, here we go again. I got to go through this all over again. And then one of the more concerning ones that impacts a game that is yet to be played, why the hell is Xavier Worthy on the injury report list now with an ankle and shoulder injury and questionable for tonight? So I don't know what's happened to Xavier Worthy over.
Oh, you didn't see it?
I mean, I saw he's questionable, but I don't know how it happened, what happened, but this isn't good.
Yeah, so it was reported late last night, I believe, by Cameron Wolfe, and it's weird because what he reported was that Xavier Worthy's ankle swelled up on the plane. And so right now it's apparently a little bit swollen, and they're judging whether or not he's going to be able to play. Obviously, there is some time between now and the game for when he can ice it, hopefully bring that swelling down to where it will be playable. But it does seem like he could be a legitimate game-time decision. He's going to go through warm-ups, see how that ankle's looking. But yeah, surprising given I didn't believe he had any issues with the ankle, and then to wind up with it swelling on the plane, maybe because of the altitude. Again, I'm not overly familiar with that type of stuff, but it happens, and so that's what's being reported. And then obviously the shoulder injury as well. But yeah, it seems like it's going to be more whether or not he's going to be able to go. I haven't heard reports saying that there's a chance he's not going to be able to play because it's that bad, but we're going to wait to see kind of how he's looking and whether or not we get confirmation beforehand. But at this point, if you're planning on playing Xavier Worthy, you're going to be playing going forward. But yeah, it seems to be a bit of a minor ankle injury due to some swelling, and he'll test it pregame to see if he's ready to go.
I don't know if this is JR Enterprise just said seems like he's out in regards to Worthy. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen anything. I just saw that he's questionable for tonight, but we got to bring that up because if he's out, Jay, do you have the confidence? Let's just get to it right now. If Worthy is out, would you play Taekwon Thornton in this matchup? Would you just plug him in if Worthy is out? If you've got Thornton on your roster?
I think it's worth it. Yeah. I mean, what else? First of all, what options do you have, right?
Yeah.
I think it's more so would you play him over a Parker Washington? Would you play him over, some other type of situation? I think
Worthy's
I would,
out.
right?
Worthy's out tonight. Travis Hunter or Taekwon Thornton?
I would probably rather have Taekwon Thornton. Again, it's not a decision many people are going to have, but he becomes probably the most viable pickup for a Monday night game like that we've had all year because people may have already dropped him. You know, he hasn't been performing very well. His target's going down. I'd say he's probably number one in terms of players you could pick up. And then second would probably be Juju Smith-Schuster, who, again, do I have confidence in? No, but if Worthy's out, it probably funnels some more targets his way.
Oh, man. Let's hope he's good. Let's hope he's good. Let's hope he's good. He's not listed. He's not listed as out right now. All the news is questionable with ankle and shoulder injury. It's tough. If Worthy plays, I'm playing him. But if not, I think I wouldn't feel great, but I would feel fine putting Taekwon Thornton back into that spot, Jay. But let's get into the games, man. I want to talk some football. We have not gotten a chance to talk about these individually. We haven't discussed anything that happened on Sunday, so this is fresh. This is new for all of us, for at least you and I, Jay Rich. So let's pull up and talk about the first game, and it was the Sunday night game. And I know that when we look at the final stats, the final stat isn't going to scream Drake May was a fantasy stud. In fact, he wasn't. I believe he's like QB 20 on the week, fantasy scoring right now. So no touchdown passes, no interceptions. He was sacked 4 times in this game, and he didn't do a lot on the ground. But I woke up this morning and went to bed last night feeling like, man, what a performance from this second-year quarterback on the road versus the reigning NFL MVP versus the team that's projected to win this AFC East. This was still a big-time divisional matchup between these two games, and the New England Patriots won this thing 23-20. Drake May beat Josh Allen head-to-head at his home stadium, icy white uniforms and all. How impressive of a victory was this for New England over Buffalo, prime time on the road, in which they were how many point underdogs in this matchup, Jay Rich?
I think they were 8, or it was more than a touchdown. I think it was 8 or 8.5. I think it was at least more than a touchdown, at least 7.5 for this game.
7.5, 8-point dogs. And this is one where I did predict. I said, I think the New England Patriots beat the Buffalo Bills on the road. I liked the way that Drake May had been playing. They had no answer for him until like the final two drives with him rolling out right and completing passes. Talk about how big of a win and what this does for Drake May's confidence and this team's confidence in him moving forward. And you talked about their next 2 games, Tennessee Titans, New Orleans Saints. Those are both winnable matchups for the Patriots.
Yeah, I mean, this is a huge game for May and a big game for the Patriots, right? This is the measuring stick game that you're going to have every single season. It's, can you beat Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, and how do you stack up versus the top team in the AFC East? And for a lot of people, the top team in the AFC period right now, because with all the injuries that we've seen across the board in the AFC, the Bills, even with this loss, still seem like they could be the top team when they're playing at their best. It's a team that came into the game averaging 30 points a game, and they were held to 20, right? Obviously a massive dub for Vrabel and that defense. But you talk about Drake May, he continues to do it with no rushing attack, right? Like Drake May himself had 12 rushing yards. The team as a whole only had 71. Treyvon Henderson couldn't get going. Antonio Gibson didn't do a whole lot and obviously got hurt. And Rhamondre Stevenson, of course, once again, another patented fumble that potentially could have cost them the game. And you're looking around and you're like, man, like, how is Drake May doing this right now? And I'm not trying to say it's kind of like Jaden Daniels, but it's very reminiscent of what we saw from Jaden Daniels last season. Like, there wasn't a ton of playmakers around him, but he continued to elevate the team, keep them in games, make them very competitive. Like, every game the Patriots have played, it's been a competitive game. He's made his own mistakes, and he's had his own turnovers, but definitely in the games that they have won, he's played significantly better. The QBR wasn't crazy good. He didn't have to run around a lot, but overall, when you talk about Drake May's performance, it was clean, and it reminded me a lot, honestly, of Dak Prescott week 1. When everyone kind of said, oh, Dak Prescott didn't play very, very well, and there wasn't a whole lot going for them because Javonte was the one that scored the touchdowns, Drake May came out with no touchdowns in the game, very minimal rushing, but fairly efficient as a passer, and ultimately got the victory in this game because he did just enough to win and kept Josh Allen on the sidelines for long enough to get the win in this game.
And just, let's talk about some of the weapons for the New England Patriots. Another fumble for Rhamondre Stevenson, man. Like, this is... It's tough to watch this continue to happen, right? And you saw everybody on the team go up to him, pat him on the head. We're going to need you. He ends up scoring 2 touchdowns. My question isn't about Rhamondre. He is who he is. I don't think there's anything that's going to change his perception in the fantasy football game. Dynasty, redraft, he is what he is. If you've got him in seasonal leagues, you're playing him as a flex kind of option. You're just hoping that he can get on the field and score a couple of touchdowns, being a part of a good offense. My bigger issue is Treyvon Henderson. Mm-hmm. And all the things that have happened in this backfield. That's 3 lost fumbles on the season for Rhamondre. Antonio Gibson is hurt. They're talking about how bad he is at pass protection, and it seems like every step of the way, they go out of their way not to put him on the field, not to give him rush attempts. Now, people are saying, oh, well, he got hurt on the kick return. There's excuse after excuse being made as to why he is not performing. This was somebody people were drafting very high. Very, very high. In Dynasty, he was appropriately priced as a first-round rookie draft pick. People were excited about Treyvon Henderson. But in redraft, man, where was his ADP over the summer? 4th, 5th round?
It was like probably in 30s.
I mean, you were banking on him to be an RB2 for you out the gate. What is it, Jay? Is this just the case of a young player trying to find his way in an offense, or are there some bigger issues going on to where this may not be the guy that we've seen? And we could say, oh, it takes some. It hasn't taken people a lot of time to see how good Quinshon Judkins is. It hasn't taken a lot of people a lot of time and multiple weeks to figure out that Ashton Genty is probably pretty good. That Raiders team is awful, but Genty's pretty good. It took a few weeks for Omarion Hampton to get going, but we kind of see, hey, this guy can be a dynamic running back for us in this league and in fantasy football. I have yet to feel that way about Treyvon Henderson. This is your squad. This is your boy. Talk about Big Hendo and the lack of production that we've seen through 5 weeks of his NFL career.
I definitely think it's a problem, right? But at the same time, we're judging a player based off of 32 carries and 15 receptions in 5 games, right? So you can say, like, we've seen a lot from Ashton Genty, but, I mean, through 2 games, Ashton Genty was being sold for nothing. And that's more carries than Henderson has on the entire season so far. I totally hear people that talk about, like, how is he not playing? Like, he must be so bad, or he must look so bad in practice. And obviously there is the pass protection issues. The pass protection side isn't that big of an issue for me because, I mean, for people who don't watch the Patriots, like, Rhamondre Stevenson is actually good in pass protection. He's been arguably their best pass-catching running back for multiple seasons, not just this season, not just going into this season, but seasons prior as well. The more concerning part is, like, I understand why they don't want to use him in pass protection, but when you saw the way he was utilized in the preseason, you're like, well, why aren't we seeing any of this now? Like, he was utilized in the passing game. They got him on wheel routes down the field. Like, all of those situations where you're like, yeah, he can make plays for this team. It may not be 12 to 20 opportunities a game. It may be very sparingly the way that he's utilized, but you hope they're going to find ways to get him the ball in space and be productive. That's the whole reason why you drafted him in the second round, at least you'd think. So it's not that I'm concerned about his productivity because for whatever reason, he's not on the field. And if you want to be concerned about that, you're more than welcome to. I'm not trying to dismiss that by any stretch, but he will have his opportunity to play whenever Vrabel gives it to him. Vrabel doesn't strike me as a coach that's just going to give him opportunity because he's a second round pick. He's going to have to earn it and get on the field and play well. This team cannot run the football. It's not just this game. It's every game. Every single game, they're 3 yards a carry, 3.5 a carry. So Hendo kind of being in that same range. Maybe you say he's not special because of that. Okay, I'm fine with that. I sort of disagree because he's a home run hitter, but he's not like he's had space anyways. So if you want to sell him, I think you'd want to at least cash out for a first, but for me, I'd be holding him because he's going to have his time. Gibson may be out for multiple weeks, at which point you get an extended stretch of Henderson. I get why people are worried, but I'm just not going to bank away from what we've seen simply because he's not performing currently. I think that there will be better times to come, and it may just be later down the line than we were hoping from the beginning of the season.
A lot of hope. A lot of hope.
For sure.
A lot of hope. All 5 games, they've used 3 running backs. I don't know who's on the practice squad right now, but I'd be picking them up. I don't know who. I do not believe that they're just going to roll forward with Henderson and Rhamondre Stevenson.
But I think the more concerning part for me,
you think we're the only ones that know or think that he could be explode? Like, they see him every day. They see him every day, and they choose not to utilize him on Sundays.
For sure.
At
the same time, it's not like he's earned that opportunity either, right? Like, when he's on the field, he hasn't made any splash plays. He hasn't shown the ability to do anything. But I think the bigger part for me and where I am concerned is, like, I understand Vrabel wants to be loyal to Rhamondre, but, like, at some point, just let Treyvon Henderson run the football. Like, just let him run the football. He doesn't fumble. He gets positive yards more often than Rhamondre, and he's been very effective when they've utilized him as a primary rusher. You don't want to use him on third downs. He's not ready for pass protection. I'm okay with that. Like, that's okay. That's just being a good football coach. But at least let him run the football and get more involved in games, especially while Gibson's out. Like, it just feels like a situation where he's got to earn it.
I'm going to be honest with you. I kind of agree with Greg, man. Vrabel is starting rookies. Rookie left tackle, rookie left guard, rookie free safety. It's on Henderson, not Vrabel. It's not a matter of them.
But those are different circumstances because he feels like he has competent running backs. And I think anyone who's watched the Patriots so far would agree, like, okay, they're not the best running backs in football, but, like, they can play football. Like, they are NFL caliber running backs. Gibson's been more than fine, and people thought he was no good. And Rhamondre is just inefficient, but clearly
so, Jay,
he has
if you can't
Vrabel's
get
trust,
touches over Gibson, who you say has just been fine, and Rhamondre, who's been inefficient, like, what does that say? Just answer me this. What does that say about the player right now? I'm not talking about what he's going to be for the entirety of his career, but if you're saying that Gibson and Rhamondre are just bodies out there and they're fine and they will not commit to giving Henderson more opportunity, what does that say about him?
I don't know. And that's why I'm not rushing to judgment to say that it's got to be a Treyvon Henderson problem. And why isn't he doing enough? I mean, Rhamondre has 38 carries. Treyvon has 32. Gibson has 25. What have we learned about this backfield? Nothing. Like you can't say you've learned anything. Rhamondre's at 3.7 a carry. Treyvon's at 3.8 a carry. Gibson's at 4.2 a carry. You know, like it's just they're all doing the same thing. No one separated themselves with this backfield. So you could say it's a Treyvon Henderson problem, but coming into the season, he was third on the depth chart, right? And he's been there mostly because of lack of opportunities. But at least he's not the one fumbling.
It's not. He's got the same. You just said it's not lack of opportunity. He's got the same opportunity as the leading guy.
But his opportunity it's not the lack of opportunity. But the opportunity has only come when the other guys screw up. That's the only. If those guys never screwed up,
him? What?
I don't know. I truly don't know because I'm pretty sure Vrabel was the same coach that played Dion Lewis when he had Derrick Henry.
Dion Lewis was good.
He was fine, but he's not Derrick Henry, right? That's all I'm saying is like if you want to jump the ship on Henderson, I'm not trying to say that you shouldn't do that.
I'm just asking the question. I'm just asking the question.
I do not know what Vrabel's doing here.
Yeah.
But much like we talk about with Jacksonville, they're winning football games. So we can't complain because they're winning football games. If they're 1-4, yeah, Treyvon Henderson has to play. But they're not. So
Stefon Diggs, vintage Stefon Diggs game. Vintage Stefon Diggs game. He looks great. 10 catches, 146 yards on 12 targets. They couldn't stop him. He was fired up for this game. After the game, did you hear Diggs' post-game presser? First question that they were asked, was this game personal for you? And he said, absolutely. He said, yeah, this was very personal for me. He was fired up in the pregame. He got the first touch of the game. I mean, he was ready to go, and he looked like vintage Diggs, just dominant. Him and Drake May, the connection that they had, nobody else really did anything in the receiving game. I think Butte had 40-something yards. Henry had 40-something yards. But
Everyone
it was all
receptions.
Stefon Diggs. Vintage Diggs performance. Hopefully, and maybe you see to a lesser degree, because this isn't the same player that Josh Allen got coming into 2020. Funny thing about Allen, man. I'm watching the game last night, Jay, and I'm old enough. I've done this long enough to remember. There was visceral hate for Josh Allen going into year 3. There were conversations amongst the fantasy football community. Does this guy even get a second contract with the Buffalo Bills? Like, I'm older. I know right now it's just like, oh, he's the reigning MVP. He's always been good. There was a point in time, there were some big-time analysts that said some wild things about Josh Allen, and look at where we are now. Like, look at where we are now. But this ain't the same Diggs that Allen got in 2020. But maybe to a lesser degree, Jay, for a couple of years, this veteran receiver can be part of the reason why Drake May ascends to another level. Having somebody that can win, that can get open, that he can rely upon. Like maybe this is really, really, really good for Drake May. I want to touch on the other side of the ball real quick. Kincaid had a monster day. Curtis Samuel and Keon Coleman scored touchdowns. Didn't do much outside of that. My big takeaway from here, Josh Allen, 253, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Bad pick for Josh Allen there. 9 carries, 53 yards. What felt like didn't work for Buffalo is they couldn't run the ball. Like every game, they've been able to lean on James Cook. He would open things up for the offense. There was not a lot of room for him to operate against this New England front. James Cook only 15 carries, 49 yards, 3.3 a carry. His worst performance of the season. That's what it felt like the big missing thing from Buffalo offensively was last night. Just their inability to get the ground game going, and they couldn't get the ground game going, and it just made things a little more difficult for that offense to move the ball. Any big takeaways from the Buffalo side for you?
Well, honestly, like my biggest question is, do you think that Mike Vrabel laid down a foundation for how to beat Buffalo going forward? Because when you look at this game, like even going back to the Baltimore game, right? James Cook only had 13 for 44 and a touchdown in that game. Then once again, this is 15 carries, 49 yards, no touchdown, the only game that he hasn't scored this season. Now, the Patriots' run defense is good, and that was a big key coming in. They obviously signed Milton Williams. They brought in Harold Lynch from Tennessee, a guy that Vrabel knows very, very well. Yep. And the defense as a whole under Spillane has been great in the way that he's helping facilitate things at the linebacker position. But, like, if this team is this dependent on James Cook, I think they're going to be a very beatable team going forward. Now, Josh Allen is still Josh Allen, but I think the biggest problem, and we've kind of always said this about Buffalo, is like they don't have guys, right? Like they don't even have a guy as good as Stefon Diggs right now. And Stefon Diggs was great in this game, not to take anything away from him, but he's not the Stefon Diggs they had in Buffalo when he was playing in Buffalo. He's a slightly reduced version of that. But like if they have tougher games coming up, which let me just see if I can pull up their schedule, it's going to be tough. And I think that's where, even though they have a great, like an easy schedule going forward, I just don't know what to expect from this team anymore because it seemed like they were world beaters coming into this game. And then the Patriots made them look like pretty average, right? Like they looked like they were contemporaries in the way they both just played strong defense, tried to run the football and leaned on their quarterbacks to win the games. And you're like, how on earth is Drake May outdueling Josh Allen in any game ever? Like that's just not very feasible going forward. But if this is how Buffalo's going to play, I mean, they just seem very reliant on James Cook, which I thought was very surprising with how good Josh Allen is and how much he can just take over games. He just couldn't do that against the Patriots, which, I mean, their corners are solid. Obviously, Christian Gonzalez is great, but I just didn't expect that in this game at all. So do you think that Buffalo may have issues going forward because of this?
No, I'm not getting into Buffalo issues. They've lost one game. They're 4-1 on the season. They couldn't run the ball in this game. They just couldn't run the ball in this game. New England Patriots defense is good. And I picked them to win the game because of that. I said, man, if they can at least make them one-dimensional, I don't trust the pass catchers, trust Josh Allen, but I don't trust the receivers enough to go out there and go get it and make plays. No, I'm not going to concerns long-term for Buffalo. I think this New England Patriots team is good, and they're going to continue to ascend and continue to get better. But let's move on. I want to talk about the game of the day. The game of the day that just, I wrote about this. If you didn't get a chance to check it out, Yahoo Fantasy, every Sunday night I do instant reactions coming out of the week, just quick hitting thoughts on what we just saw happen on the football field. Sometimes, man, the stars align, Jay Rich. Sometimes the stars align and a lot of things have to go right for you to get that special type of season. And then you have to have the right player to capitalize on that opportunity. We saw that in 2021 when the Cincinnati Bengals drafted Jamar Chase in the first round. And, you know, there are a couple of teams that could have picked him ahead of Cincinnati, but he lands with his former quarterback and magic ensues. We saw it in 2023 when Matthew Stafford, coming off of a Super Bowl, Cooper Kupp is banged up, and then you've got this young rookie wide receiver named Puka Nacua step up and get opportunity. There were a lot of things that had to go right in Tampa Bay for Emeka Egbuka to get this type of opportunity, and it happened. They lost not just their number one, not just their number two, but number three leading pass catcher from 2024. And in steps this rookie wide receiver out of Ohio State to Tampa Bay with one of the most fearless quarterbacks in the NFL. And right now, Emeka Egbuka on the season with only 25 receptions. He's tied for fourth in yards, tied for second in touchdowns, 25 receptions, 445 yards for Emeka Egbuka. And on the week, Jay Rich, absolutely nuclear in this shootout against Seattle. 7 catches, 163 yards, 1 touchdown on 7 targets, long of 57. He was uncoverable. He's not going to end up with the same volume stats as Puka Nacua. I don't think he's going to have as many receptions as Puka had in his rookie year. But my goodness, man, like I just want to, this is one player, man. A lot of people liked him once we got close to the season. I've loved them throughout the entire draft process. And I was like, this dude is the real deal. And playing in this offense with Baker Mayfield is a blessing for him because Baker is going to throw the ball. Baker Mayfield, one of the most entertaining quarterbacks in the NFL, and what a ride his career has been. But to watch Egbuka explode like this when they needed him, dude. I mean, this is special. Watching this player right now ascend to this level, I believe he's wide receiver 3.5 PPR on the season, only behind the aforementioned Puka Nacua and I believe Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's number 3 in scoring. Like, how good is Emeka Egbuka, Jay Rich? Because
Well,
I know there were some times you're like, I don't know if he'll continue to do this, and that's
yeah.
like now that we're here, 5 weeks in, how are you feeling about this young player, man?
I mean, it's really tough because a game like this definitely gives you the confidence that it can continue. When we're talking about a 4 for, 40 with a touchdown, you're like, okay, that's like Marvin Harrison Jr. numbers. But when you get 7 receptions on 7 targets for 163 and a touchdown, you're like, okay, now we're talking about a guy that's going toe-to-toe with a player like Jackson Smith-Njigba, who obviously was his college teammate and another phenomenal receiver in his own right. But to add more context, I want to give credit to Ron Stewart at @RonStewart_ on X. Most PPR points through a wide receiver's first 5 career games ever. Number 1, Puka Nacua, 115.6. Randy Moss, 104.7. Emeka Egbuka, 102.4. Malik Neighbors, 99.7. Ja'Marr Chase, 98.4. So Emeka Egbuka is already performing, for fantasy purposes, at one of the highest levels we've ever seen from a rookie in his first 5 games. Third all-time, only behind Puka Nacua and Randy Moss, and ahead of the likes of Malik Neighbors and Ja'Marr Chase. Now, the question, Ray, from me to you is, are you buying that going forward? Are you saying, you know what, his price is as high as it is, and I'm still willing to buy? In the same breath that we talked about Puka Nacua when we said, are we sure we're going to buy high on Puka Nacua as his ascension into the wide receiver 1 ranks came about? But Emeka Egbuka is a player that's already there. Would you continue to buy high on a player like Emeka Egbuka, hoping he can be the wide receiver 1 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going forward? Mike Evans coming back, Chris Godwin, further health, Jalen McMillan at some point will return, but Baker Mayfield is absolutely playing the same level he did last season, and the connection with Emeka Egbuka is as real as it gets. And I think all the praise we saw from him coming into the season is showing up on the field, and it wasn't just them talking about how great he was. He's actually showing how great of a receiver he truly is.
I don't really have to buy much of him because I was already all in going into the season. I mean, I was already all in on this player. I'm looking at my exposure to players right now in Underdog Fantasy. I put my money where my mouth is. Egbuka is one of my highest rostered players overall. Him, Rome Odunze, Xavier Worthy, right there at the tip top as far as exposure. I'm not playing around out here, so I don't have to buy a lot of Emeka Egbuka because I drafted him everywhere. Yes, I see people joking about, I didn't see all the stuff about separation, so I'm assuming there was some. It was
Fusu.
I'm assuming there was some separation data that people don't even probably understand what it is, and I don't know how people come up with it, that was dropped that said that he doesn't separate much. I don't give a shit about none of that, man. Trust the Trinity. The usage and how the team deploys the player, like I trust that much more than an isolated metric that I don't even. I've got my own issues with that and how people chart and all of that. But yeah, I'm buying into it. I think that even when Mike Evans and Chris Godwin's already there, like this is the one. You don't bottle this up and put this back in the bag. This is their team's best downfield option at their stage of the career. Chris Godwin can be a fine player. Mike Evans can come back and be a fine, exceptional player. This offense needs to flow through Emeka Egbuka, like point blank period. He's that good. He's that talented. He's that special, and appreciate it and enjoy it. And on the other side of the ball, JSN is also equally as talented. I mean, Jackson Smith-Njigba, 8 for 132 touchdown, nasty downfield catch, maybe one of the catches on the day. Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield, I believe it was the first time in NFL history where 2 quarterbacks threw for over 325 yards in the same game and completed over 80% of their passes. So you're just talking about efficiency from both of these teams. The running game, Rachaad White, 2 touchdowns. Kenneth Walker managers got to feel awful. I mean, he's ripping off chunk run after chunk run. And before they even called the play, I was like, I bet you they put Zach Charbonnet in the game. They put Sharps down there to get that red zone touch, and he scored the touchdown close to the goal line. But Kenneth Walker played well in that matchup as well. Darnold, the costly interception late, really hurt them, as they probably were going to go to overtime at least, or try to get in position to kick a game-winning field goal. Egbuka, Jackson Smith-Njigba, AJ Barner getting the end zone a couple of times. Torrey Horton scored. Other side of the ball, you saw Tez Johnson. If you're playing in deeper leagues, he was on the field getting deep targets. And it came out before the game that they were going to ride Rachaad White. No Sean Tucker in this matchup. It was all Rachaad White, for the most part, running the ball. Baker Mayfield, outstanding. Sam Darnold, outstanding. I'm buying it, man. This was game of the day. Outside of that Sunday night game, which was a very competitive matchup, slow to start. I think it was 6-3 going into halftime.
Yeah.
From a fantasy perspective, this was it right here.
So what do you do with Baker now going forward? Like, where do you stand with Baker Mayfield? I mean, this is a team that every game's been close. Every game's come down to the wire. They once again win on a late field goal. But like, how do you feel about Baker in terms of, you could talk about fantasy if you want, but I think the bigger question for a lot of people is like, this is a dude that's just finding ways to win football games for his team. And like, do you think this is a guy that could at least get into the top, let's say 7 or 8 of quarterbacks this season and kind of playing his way into the MVP conversation?
NFL-wise, yes. Right now, he's 4th in yards, tied for 3rd in touchdowns, only 1 interception for Baker. He's got a rookie receiver, 2 of them, really, if you want to include Tez Johnson. 2 rookie receivers. He's lost Big Play Mike. He hasn't had Chris Godwin for majority of the season. A new offensive coordinator.
Yep.
Running game, no Bucky Irvin, and there's reports that he's even more banged up than just the foot injury. How can Baker Mayfield, leading this 4-1 Tampa Bay Buccaneers team, playing as well? How is he not in the MVP conversation? Absolutely. Kudos to Baker Mayfield, who is just 30 years old. I don't want to say he's a journeyman quarterback because he was the #1 overall pick back in, 2018, 2019?
Well, him and Darnold. Darnold was the 3rd overall pick, right? That was like the big narrative.
He's so fun to watch. Like, this is why you buy Egbuka. This is why you buy, this is Baker's offense. Baker Mayfield is going to throw the ball. Baker Mayfield, yes, I'm buying into Baker Mayfield. Will he, NFL-wise, can he ascend to be a top 8 sort of viewed quarterback? I think so. In fantasy football, I think he's always going to have that, he's a little bit older and he doesn't
and he's
run.
On a rusher.
Yeah. So he will always be a value / discount / underrated player where you look up. Can't you just see him 5 years from now, 6 years from now doing the same shit that we see Matthew Stafford doing? Just being a surgeon with delivering the football. The arm is live. Baker Mayfield is dope, dude.
And that's where I wanted to kind of get at, right? For everything that we talk about, because it's fantasy football, right? Baker's still QB5 in points per game. But, he's not a rusher.
Regression.
Right? Like, he's not a rusher.
There's no way he can
yeah.
He's never going to do that again. Best season of his career last year. He's lost Liam Cohen. He doesn't have Evans. No Chris Godwin. Rookie receivers. 120-pound receiver in Tez Johnson. There's no way. There's no way he could do that again. And here he is right here. What a value Baker Mayfield has. What a value.
Yeah. Yeah, he's playing great football. And that's where, you look to him right now, what he's doing. It reminds me a lot of what we saw kind of like from Kirk Cousins, right? Once Kirk Cousins got to like 28, 29, 30, he started to really throw the ball well. He'd throw for a ton of yards, throw for a ton of touchdowns. And while no one wanted to draft him, he was always a very valuable asset. And the other thing we learned is that it was never Dave Canales. It was never Liam Cohen, even though Liam Cohen did orchestrate the rushing attack for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It was always the Baker Mayfield offense. And this has been and will continue to be a Baker Mayfield offense. And that's the big takeaway here. It doesn't matter who's playing receiver, doesn't matter who's playing running back. It's always going to be, going forward, a Baker Mayfield-led offense, and he's going to continue to be a great quarterback going forward as well.
Look at this, man. Carolina had both of them, Jay Rich.
Hey, don't diss Carolina. They won this week. They got a big win.
Carolina
big win
had
this
both
week.
of it. It's just I'm watching football, man, and I'm just watching the game. You're watching college, you're watching the NFL, and my big takeaway is just how important. Yes, the individual talent of the player absolutely matters. That ain't up for debate. The individual talent of the player absolutely matters. But you know what matters? Probably just as much, Jay Rich, if not a little bit more, the coaching, man, the environment.
For sure.
I'm not even talking about just the players, but putting the coaching staff to develop a game plan that fits your quarterback skill set, that allows that player to do the 1 or 2 or 3 things that they do well. Just let them do that. Stop trying to fit a square peg in a round hole, right? I'm going to let Baker do the things that Baker does well. We're going to let Darnold do the things that Darnold does well. Daniel Jones, another example of that. And just how important that is, and how things could just be ruined by bad coaching, by bad situation, which sort of fosters bad habits from the player, regardless of the position. But most importantly, we're talking about the QB position because that's the one that sort of drives everything that we're chasing in fantasy football. Great game, great performances. Hell yes. Emeka Egbuka, I don't know how high he is right now, but off the rip, Jay Rich, I don't think there are 5 receivers I would take right now over him in Dynasty Fan. I know we didn't we just do this shit last week? Didn't we just do this last week with Egbuka?
We did. There's 5. 5 is interesting. So name your 5.
I'm
or name your 4, I guess.
Puka Nacua over him, sure. Absolutely.
Yes.
Jamar Chase over him, I'm still taking Chase over. Even in the worst situation, he's the one that's capable of garbaging his way to a big day. Justin Jefferson over him still. Even with Carson Wentz, Justin Jefferson would still be over Emeka Egbuka. And now that 4th one, CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb still over Emeka Egbuka. I would still take CeeDee Lamb.
You're going to make the chat mad, Ray. There's one more guy that everyone loves.
One more guy?
Leading the NFL in receiving touchdowns.
You talking about Rome?
No, not Rome. Guy out in Detroit.
Oh, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I would still take Amon-Ra St. Brown over him as well. Outside of that.
So how do you feel about JSN versus Egbuka? They're back to back.
Pick your flavor. I think at that point they're one and the same. JSN on a Tuesday and Emeka Egbuka on a Wednesday. I think they're one and the same. I'm good if I've got either of those guys. I would take either of them over probably whoever you would name next.
What about Malik Neighbors?
I would take right now. I'm taking Emeka Egbuka and Jackson Smith and Jigba over Malik Neighbors. Yes. Okay. Yes.
And then you're still Odunze over Egbuka, right? You said that. I mean, you said that a week ago, 2 weeks ago, however long it was now.
I think you can make the case for either, man.
Which one are you taking? You live on the fence too much. You got to make your case. Make your case.
It's hard not to say Emeka Egbuka over Rome. They're in that same cluster for me. Rome, and those are guys I love. You can't knock me because I was when the whole world said Rome Odunze was a bust after 1 year. I was like, y'all stop it. Like, this dude is the real deal. It's gonna change under Ben Johnson. I was there, so sure. I love all 3 of those guys, Jay Rich, and I'm not just saying that ain't a product of Week 5. I've been saying that all along. He's right there. He's wide receiver 5-6. There's Nico Collins.
Nico's down. The other guy I wanted to ask you about is Drake London. Because Drake London had a bounce back week. He was on bye this week. We'll see how he does going forward. But Drake London is definitely worthy of being in the conversation. It's just he's had a bit of an up and down start to the year.
Yeah, I would take Egbuka, Rome Odunze over Drake London. I would take him over London.
So you got Chase, Nacua, Jefferson, Amon-Ra, and CeeDee Lamb. Where would you have Neighbors?
Neighbors, he's not going to fall too far out of there. I'd probably have him in the 8 spot, maybe like the 8 hole, 7-8 hole.
Would you put him ahead of London?
Neighbors over London? Probably not because London's playing right now. I mean, he's out.
And then at 11 is McMillan.
What McMillan? Teteroa McMillan?
He's at 11.
Yeah,
Jalen McMillan.
I was like, I had to think for a minute. No, I would still take Neighbors over McMillan.
So you would have Neighbors down at wide receiver 10. So your top 10 wide receivers would be Puka Nacua, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, CeeDee Lamb, JSN or Emeka Egbuka at 6.
Go JSN.
JSN, Egbuka, Rome Odunze, Drake London, and Malik Neighbors. Your top 10 dynasty wide receivers going forward.
Yeah, I'll rock with that. Let me know what y'all think, chat. We got to go to break. After break, we'll get into a couple of more games. Hit the thumbs up button. Like the stream. We got over 530 people here on the Tuba U. Support the show. Support the movement. Support the stream. We'll be right back after the break. Let's get it. Welcome back to the stream. This is Wake Up with Ray and Jay every Monday, every Wednesday, every Friday, right here on the channel. Hit the thumbs up button, like the stream, subscribe to the channel. Jay Rich, man, I gotta say something, man. I gotta say something, dude, because we talked about this story when it happened. We talked about the story when it happened, and it was a while ago. And it doesn't sit right with me that we talked about it and we discussed it, and then news comes out that the player wasn't even involved. And I'm talking Kyren Lacy, dude. This is such an unfortunate situation, and I'm not finna get into the timeline of events, but the news that came out that that young man was not involved in that automobile accident that pretty much derailed his NFL draft steam, his invitation to the Senior Bowl, his ability to get drafted. And then we see months later that he was not involved in that car accident. Just very, 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 very tough, dude. And this is why, you know, for those of you who don't know, I went to law school twice. I got my JD, not undergrad, but 2009 to 2012. Then I got an LLM. It's International and Comparative Sports Law from St. John's. It's like a master's in law degree. And this is why in law, you wait till everything comes out, right? And sometimes it takes a little while for all that shit to get out there. But the situation that happened with Kyren Lacy, and I'm not going to say that is the reason why he took his own life. That is exactly the reason, because I don't know that. And I don't want to talk about things that I don't know. But what we do know now is he did not cause that car accident, which seemingly the whole world just dumped on him after that happened.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Kyren Lacy. That's just
very, very sad story.
Tough, dude.
Very, very
That's tough stuff, man.
Yeah.
That's tough, you know? What are your thoughts on that, dude?
Honestly, it's sad because, you know, football, fantasy aside, like, he was just a player that we were rooting for and could have had a great season. And obviously there was things that happened that didn't make that happen for him. But to see his NFL prospect kind of derailed because of it, and then obviously the outcome and what became of him in the end. And it's just hard to not imagine that was weighing so heavily on him, to know that he wasn't involved and everyone was blaming him. And it was, as you mentioned, derailing his life, or at least the life that he thought he had going forward, is just extremely sad and heartbreaking, because it's just, it's honestly hard to even put into words how hard it is to see something like this happen when all the facts come out. But just very, very sad and really, really difficult to hear, because he didn't deserve that, right? Like, yeah. And that's what it comes down to. And, you know, we're always quick to pass judgment on players for things they've done wrong. Quinshon Judkins this offseason, perfect example, right? Same type of situation to some extent, where he was blamed for something. Turns out it wasn't as bad as we initially heard. And it's not to excuse the ones that are guilty, but it's like, let's just at least give them some benefit of the doubt, because you don't want to dog a player for an outcome like this to be the end of it, right? Like that's when you're like, okay, what are we really doing here? Did he deserve that? Should I have done that? And just let the due process kind of play out. Yeah.
Yeah. We don't got to talk too much about it as a father of two boys, man. I put myself in that situation. Like if one of my sons would just kept saying, Dad, I didn't do this, right? I didn't do what they're saying that I did. And for it to take this long, just absolutely gut-wrenching. Just breaks my heart to even think about, to talk about. Rest in paradise, Kyren Lacy. Was not good for the Mark Sanchez legal process news stuff. Pretty
doesn't
rough
look good
stuff
for
out
Mark
there.
Sanchez.
Yeah, Mark Sanchez, you know, it doesn't look like it's going to end well for him, but
hopefully he's all right, though.
Let's let the process play out, and we'll see what happens in due time. Now, we do know what happened in Philadelphia. Jay Rich, the Eagles. More passing, more problems in Philadelphia. If I just told you, Jay Rich and the people of this great show, if I told you going into the game that the Eagles were going to run the ball collectively 11 times, Jay Rich, Jalen Hurts was going to throw the ball 38 times, right? You'd probably think, and they probably had a pretty good passing day. They didn't run the ball at all. If I told you Saquon Barkley was going to have a grand total, Jay Rich, of 9 touches on the game, you'd probably think, okay, this was a week that they got it going offensively. The passing game got going. Well, kind of, sort of. For Devonta Smith, it got going. For Dallas Goedert, he continued to score touchdowns because that's all he kind of does. But for one A.J. Brown, Jay Rich, he did not get going. He was targeted 8 times, 5 catches, 43 yards. There was a would-have-been 61-yard touchdown pass. A.J. Brown said he ran the route. He looked back. He didn't see the ball. Then he looked up. Did you see A.J. Brown's quote? He said, we just didn't connect. We just didn't connect. That's
really, A.J. Brown?
A.J. Brown, because they asked him, what happened on that play? Looks like he slowed down. He said, I ran the route. I looked back for the ball. I didn't see the ball. Then I looked up, and there was the ball, and then it was just too late. Eagles
looked like
lost.
He slowed down to me, too.
Eagles lost at home to a Denver team that didn't look like they really wanted to win the game for like 3/4 of the game. Saquon Barkley, once again, Jay Rich, nothing on the ground. They only ran the ball between Saquon, A.J. Dillon, Hurts, and Will Shipley 11 times for 45 yards. Saquon did catch the long touchdown pass, 47 of his 58 receiving yards, which is absolutely terrifying. That in the past, anything that Saquon got in the receiving game was like icing on the cake.
Bonus,
now we need it. Like that's the meal. That's the meat and potatoes of how Saquon Barkley is scoring points is in the receiving game. What do we do now, Jay Rich? Devonta Smith went off 8 for 114. He did his thing. I believe he's like wide receiver 13, 14 on the week and half PPR. I'm done trying to guess. I think you live and die with A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith on your fantasy football roster. You said you weren't playing either of them this week. I don't think you feel bad about benching them, even with what Devonta Smith did. I think you're just like, okay, great, but I'm glad I didn't play A.J. Brown. What do we do? What do we do?
Let's see who the Eagles have next. Oh, they have the Giants, Ray, on Thursday Night Football.
Guess what?
Probably start A.J. Brown in that game because from my recollection this week, the Giants looked pretty bad. Right? And this is where, when we talked about this game on Friday, I said if I set the line of A.J. Brown for 5 receptions and I believe 55 yards was the line I gave, I said I'd probably still take the under because I don't think that that's an outcome that I want to play with in fantasy football. And I remember talking about how it's like, I understand people want to start A.J. Brown, but even if you do want to start A.J. Brown, this is not the matchup to do it. He's going against the defensive player of the year in Pat Surtain. And Pat Surtain was all over him in this game. So, while yes, this doesn't seem like a good performance, this is probably a pretty decent performance against Pat Surtain. You go look at what Jamar Chase did last week, it's not much different than we saw from A.J. Brown. So, for me, honestly, I'd probably be trying to trade for A.J. Brown in redraft. That's what I'd be trying to do. This is a matchup that is tailor-made for the wide receiver 2, and it's why I said I'd rather start Devonta Smith over A.J. Brown because he's going to be marked against Riley Moss, and he obviously had a fantastic game against the Denver Broncos. But it wasn't a poor performance given the circumstances. I think that's the takeaway here for me. The Eagles were number 2 in neutral pass rate on the week, only behind the LA Rams, which is exactly what you want to see for the passing game. It just didn't go to A.J. Brown in the way that we hoped it would, but he was guarded by the Defensive Player of the Year. That is the context that matters. He got 8 targets. Okay, that's more than fine. He was targeted down the field. I think he kind of stopped short on that route, but, he's saying he didn't. This is what you want to see from the Eagles. I still think they're going to run the football a lot, especially against the Giants. You just know that Saquon's going to get 20 carries in that game. He's going to want 200 yards. But because the Giants, I think you can play A.J. Brown pretty confidently going forward, and I would be trying to trade for him in redraft. Not a lot of takeaways, honestly, from the Eagles. They just aren't a very good team. We kind of knew that going in, but credit.
Hey.
They're not a very good team, Ray.
They're 4-1.
We've watched them for 5 weeks, and not a single week have I thought, man, this team can go and win the Super Bowl. They just survive and survive and survive and survive. They're exactly like the Chiefs last year. Exactly like the Chiefs. They're not inspiring offensively. Their offensive line is banged up. They just got destroyed. Hurts got sacked 6 times in this game, which he doesn't take that many sacks at all. I wouldn't say that he got outplayed by Bo Nix.
I don't think they're a bad team. I do not.
The Denver Broncos have a great defense. They have a great defense.
I think the Denver Broncos are also a quality NFL team. But to say
Absolutely.
the Eagles are a bad team,
they're flawed. What is the Eagles' flaw, right?
There are some issues offensively. I think everybody can agree with that. They can't run the ball right now. Their inability to get the ball to their wide receivers and make things a little easier is problematic. But I don't believe they're a bad football team. And from a fantasy perspective, yeah, this is a spot against the Giants in which I think they can get right. That Giants team, pump the brakes on enshrining Jackson Dart into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Pretty damn rough versus the Saints, which I did pick the New Orleans. Did I not pick the Saints to win the game? Did I not pick New Orleans? I said, hey, man, on the road, New Orleans, I think this is going to be a tough spot for Jackson Dart. I don't think Philly's a bad team, but the trade deadline will be interesting. I'll just say that.
Well, because the funny thing is, right? And people are saying, "Oh, they're 4-1. They'll be fine. Like they'll be fine." Like, okay, cool. Like that's all good and well for now, but like they don't look fine, and that's the difference, right? Even going back to last season, and Adam knows because Adam watches every show, and he remembers when I was like, "Look, the Eagles are going to get going really, really soon." And they're going to go on a run. They're going to be great. I'm not worried about them going forward. But this team does not look like last year's team in any way. And that, for me, is the big issue here. They don't look as dominant on the offensive line as they did before. And that's what I don't know if that's going to improve, especially if Landon Dickerson is hurt. Why is this Eagles offense going to improve going forward? That's the problem. Denver side of the ball, Courtland Sutton is very good. Courtland Sutton is very, very good. I want to see where he ranks on the season. Tied for 15th in receptions, 11th in yards, 3 touchdowns. Very, very good for Courtland Sutton this year. He was huge, and they play him out of the slot. He's just very, very difficult for defensive backs to deal with. He was bullying them. I saw someone say he was bullying Quinshon in the game. Courtland Sutton, very good. J.K. Dobbins, another 20 carries, so you know what sounder he gets, Jay Rich. Bell cow alerts. J.K. Dobbins, 20 for 79. Touchdown run. R.J. Harvey, Jay Rich. We pouring one out for R.J. Harvey? You want to talk about Treyvon Henderson not getting on the field? Like, this is a lot different in Denver. A lot different.
It's kind of the same. They don't
give him the ball at all.
It's kind of the same. He doesn't do anything.
But he's the 2, though, and he still don't get the ball.
He gets a few touches and doesn't do anything with them.
Yeah.
It's J.K. Dobbins. Like, we're 5 weeks in. Sure. Patient for what he could be long term. Like, it's never over for a running back. Ever. Look at Javonte Williams was dead and now he's back to life. It's never over. But like the expectations that you can start him right now, it ain't happening. It's not happening with a healthy J.K. Dobbins on the field. Bo Nix, I mean, he was fine. He made plays. He makes plays when he needs to make plays. He makes plays when he needs to make plays. And they won the game. They won the ball game, Jay Rich. They won the ball game. That's all that matters.
Won the ball game.
They won the ball game. Let's talk about my team. Let's talk about my Dallas Cowboys, Jay Rich. Let's talk about those Dallas Cowboys. Got a dub, improved to 2-2-1 on the season after beating the New York Jets 37-22. Jets, the only team through 5 games of the season to not force a single takeaway. Offensively, nobody garbage times better than Justin Fields. I made a bold prediction that he'd be the QB1 on the week. Jay, I couldn't have been close to being more right and wrong at the same time because he plays nothing like a QB1. But in that fourth quarter, when they're down by multiple touchdowns, he will garbage his way to relevancy. My goodness, Justin Fields. 2 touchdowns, 283 yards, cruise past his total passing yard number, the prop projection. Garrett Wilson, again, does little to nothing for the majority of the game, but in the end, when it's time to garbage time it, they get it done. 6 for 71, 1 touchdown. Mason Taylor, 9 catches, 67 yards. Breece Hall, just running through Dallas's defense however they want it. This is a big nod to what's going to happen probably next week when the Dallas Cowboys go to Carolina. If Rico Dowdle's on the field, you fire him up. This Dallas defense still is not good. Still not a very good defense. But man, Javonte Williams, Dak Prescott, 4 passing touchdowns. Defensively, they made life hell on earth for Justin Fields. 5 sacks for Justin Fields. He looked uncomfortable all game. You've got Ryan Flournoy out here, 100-yard performance for the second-year player filling in for CeeDee Lamb. George Pickens didn't do much, but he got deep. That's what he does.
Yeah, he
Down
did
the
enough.
field, nice touchdown grab, saved his fantasy day. And big Jake Ferguson, Jay Rich. Jake Ferg, no yards after the catch. He's a touch and fall tight end, but he's going to get fed those targets. 7 catches, 49 yards, not 1, but 2 touchdowns where he's lumbering. How old is Jake Ferguson? He runs like he's 35. He is 26 years old. 26 years old, and he runs like he's 36 years old. But damn it, he's incredible for fans. He's got to be a top 3 tight end on the season. He might be tight end 1. Jake Ferg, literally, I think he's tight end 1 on the season without looking because he's been on a heater scoring touchdown passes. Big Javonte Williams gutting through this New York Jets defense. What do you think about this game, man? Big takeaways from this one.
I think the biggest takeaway, honestly, is probably Mason Taylor being so heavily involved in this game. This is a player that we thought could be the number 2 pass catcher on this offense behind Garrett Wilson. And in this game, he was the most targeted player on the team with 12 targets behind or only ahead of Garrett Wilson's 10. But yeah, I mean, Dallas did what they did. I mean, Dak Prescott, QB2 on the week. Talk about Jake Ferguson, tight end 1 on the season, tight end 2 on the week.
Let's go.
Yeah, tight end 1 on the season, 17.2 points per game. I do want to pull it up because I'm pretty sure he is in the top 4 or 5 in receptions.
Second in the NFL in catches, 41.
That's what it is, yeah. So he's second.
Puka Nacua level. Puka Ferguson getting it done. Puka, would you rather Puka Nacua or Jake Ferguson right now, Jay Rich? Emeka Egbuka or Jake Ferg? I'm taking Jake Ferg, baby. Give me that volume.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, he's got more receptions than Christian McCaffrey, but it's slightly less in terms of yards and same in touchdowns. But even still, like the fact that he's up there ahead of Amon-Ra, ahead of JSN, ahead of Garrett Wilson, like
balling.
And it's not like CeeDee Lamb's been hurt the entire season. Like CeeDee Lamb's been playing in some of these games. He missed this week and he missed most of last week, but still, like Jake Ferguson's on pace for 120 receptions this season, which is just absolutely ridiculous. And to be even more, even add to that further, right? He is 4 points per game ahead of the tight end 2 on the season, who is Tyler Warren. 4 points per game ahead of him. So he's that much better than your tight end 1 and Tyler Warren.
If you listen to GQ, you got Ferg and you got Warren, and you are profiting in fantasy football at the onesie position, which is tight end. Dak Prescott, incredible. Fields, garbage time. 0-5, Aaron Glenn. My question to you, does he survive the season?
He shouldn't. Why should he? I mean, Ray, he's a defensive guy, and they give up 30 points a game. And I think the other thing too, which I don't know if people
Adam
talk about
Gase wasn't this bad. Even Adam Gase wasn't this bad.
Adam Gase wasn't this bad. And I think like even the sad part for this team is that I thought this team had defensive pieces. Like it's not like this team has a bad defense or had a bad defense on paper. They just haven't quite worked with whatever Aaron Glenn's trying to implement. And obviously offensively, this team is a bit of a wreck. And to be fair to Aaron Glenn, how many turnovers do they have on the season? Because Breece Hall, of course, fumbled in this game. So I'm sure he wasn't happy about that. He still was great rushing the ball because he had 0.
I know that. They forced
0 going into this game. They forced 0 in this game as well, which would probably put them at about a -9 on the season in turnover margin, which probably puts them at number 1 in the NFL or 32nd in the NFL for turnover margin. It's bad. Like what's crazy is like, let me pull up Tankathon because I'm pretty sure there's 7 teams at 1-4, and then the Jets are at 0-5.
Elwood said the Titans and the Saints won before you. It's over.
Yeah, we got the Giants, Titans, Vegas, Saints, Dolphins, Ravens, Browns at 1-4. Put the Jets at 0-5. It ain't looking good for the Ravens.
Well, let's. Anything
Can we
else
talk
from
about
this?
CJ Stroud? No, I had nothing for this game.
All right, let's talk Baltimore, man. It's over. Like
you're calling it just like that. You're saying it's over.
It's over, dude. It's over. It's over. It's over, Jay. It's over. They're 1-4. Going into the week in our Discord, I asked people on, it had to have been Wednesday or Thursday, We're in the Discord voice chat. Join Heisman. I know Jordan Baker's in here. Jordan can confirm how dope the group is. Like, if you are truly looking for a community where like people love this shit and they are talking about it, trade advice, roster stuff, football talk, there are people that have been in there over 5 years. Like, some of our best friends have come from this group. A lot of people. I highly suggest you join. I said on the week, man, I'm like, dude, the Pittsburgh Steelers were second favorites in the division to win the AFC North.
Yeah.
Baltimore was still favored to win that division going into the week. And I'm like, how? They're allowing over 35 points per game. Over 35 points per game. It's over. I am very concerned for this Ravens team moving forward. Like, this season it's a wrap. No Lamar, there's no chance. Even with Lamar.
He'll be back.
With Lamar. They were 1-3. With him. They can't stop anybody. Woody Marks didn't do a damn thing. Nothing from Woody Marks. Nico Collins, well, maybe Nico went ape shit. He was fine. I'll give him a single air horn. He scored a touchdown, but he didn't go crazy in this game. You got Xavier Hutchinson, whom nobody started, get you 2 touchdowns. Nick Chubb breaking through the defense, looking like old Nick Chubb. CJ Stroud, we just dumped on that old CJ. Get right game, did he have? QB1.
Did he ever?
Stroud is running. That was his career-long run. After he went on this big tirade of how old he feels at 24 years old, career-high long run. CJ Stroud 4 times. They beat the Ravens so bad, they had Davis Mills in the game the whole fourth quarter. The Ravens still got the starters out there. Zay Flowers causing turnovers. Cooper Rush 3 picks. Derrick Henry, awful, saved the day with a touchdown. Mark Andrews, another one, clanks off his hands for an intercept. It's over. Over. Done. If his name, and you know who the Ravens got this week? You know who they got this week?
The Rams.
The Rams. You think it's going to get better versus the Rams?
No.
Pencil in a 50 burger for the Rams. Pencil in a 50 spot for the Rams. Jay, do you want to start anybody in Baltimore? Do you want to start anybody? You're still probably going to chug Derrick Henry out there. You got no choice. You're going to play Derrick Henry.
Do we have to start him?
He's
been awful.
You probably do. You probably do.
Do you have to start him against the Rams?
You probably have no choice. Who are you benching him for? Who are we benching him for?
Ray, he had 33 yards
Treyvon
on 15
Henderson or
carries.
Derrick Henry?
Treyvon Henderson.
No fucking way.
Why not?
No way.
Why?
No way.
Why not? Why not? Antonio Gibson is out for the next 3 weeks. Why not? He only needs 40 yards to do better than Derrick Henry. Sure, Derrick Henry scored a touchdown, but Treyvon can score a random touchdown too. Touchdowns aside, why is it Derrick Henry for sure? How many games this season does Derrick Henry have more than 60 rushing yards?
Probably one. Probably one.
One.
The first game.
He has one game with more than 50 rushing yards. One. This is the king. This is Derrick Henry. One game with more than 50 rushing yards. That's not startable. Rhamondre Stevenson's better than that.
Well, the thing is with Cooper Rush, there's just no fear, right? With Cooper Rush
Absolutely.
out there.
But I'm just saying, they have the Rams this week, right?
And then he gets game scripted out of it. If they get down early, then they're just going to take him out and try to throw the ball, and it's not going to work well. This is the most disappointing team in football. Like, it is. It's got to be the most disappointing team in football. They're 1-4, Jay Rich, and I don't think they're going to win versus the Rams. They dropped to 1-5. Is this going to be one of those seasons where we get down the stretch and we don't even have Lamar and Henry come playoff time? Come fantasy playoffs, week 14, week 15, do we even... I don't know. Shout out to Houston, who put foot in ass, belt to ass. They beat them down. Down. They embarrassed... They were 2.5-point favorites, Jay Rich. 2.5-point favorites, and they won by 30.
And they had no offense coming into this game.
None.
They said, oh, it's the Tennessee Titans.
None.
We got to excuse. They only put up 29 on Tennessee and they dropped 40 on Baltimore. 40. They've allowed 40 points like every game this season. The fewest points they've allowed in a game this season, Ray. 37. 37. How's that? Or sorry, the Browns game was 17. My apologies.
Yeah,
every other game is 37 or more.
They're allowing 35 points per game. I did the math yesterday. 35.3 to be exact.
They were worse than Dallas coming into this week, and they allowed significantly more than Dallas.
I got nothing for you, man. I've got nothing else.
Do you think they can beat the Bears coming out of the bye? I think that's the game where you say
with Cooper Rush,
if
not
they
a chance. Not a chance.
No, we're expecting Lamar back. We're expecting Lamar back in that game. So they have the bye. So they play the Rams. They have the bye. We hope Lamar's back after that. So that's a home game versus the Bears on the 26th.
No.
Ahead of the trade deadline. Do you think they can beat the Bears?
No. Not with this defense. Not with this defense.
And I think if they lose that game, they are sellers at the deadline.
You think that if they lose
to the Bears, they're
who are you selling?
I don't know who they're selling. But if they lose to the Bears and they are 1-6, I don't know how they come back from 1-6. Because then you have to win out every game. And you still got 2 Steelers games, you got a Packers game, you got a Vikings game in there. Like this 2-game stretch could end their season, I think. But you need Lamar basically be perfect if they lose to the Bears. If they don't, then they'll be okay, probably.
They've given up damn near 30-plus points every game of the season. You can't win in the NFL like that. You cannot win in the NFL like that. The offensive line is a problem. Moving forward, again, Zay Flowers converted all 5 of his targets. He was 5 for 5 for 72 yards. I don't think that I have confidence to start any of these guys. Any of them. Henry would be the only one. Like, Henry is the only one. And if you start Zay, you are truly just praying. Because he's not going to be used in the red zone. That he never is. So that's not happening. It's Cooper Rush. This is just all-time bad by Baltimore. Yeah. All right, let's hit a few more before we get out of here. Remember, we do the show 3 days a week. So if we don't hit a game today, I promise you we will touch on it. On Wednesday, our 10 things we love and hate going into week 6. Where do you want to wrap up with, Jay Rich? We got Washington, LAC. Tennessee gets their first win over an Arizona team that should be absolutely embarrassed by that loss. They should be embarrassed, and everybody in Arizona should be fired. They ought to fire everybody. DeMarcado shouldn't touch the ball again. I don't know how you're a professional football player and you continue to do that shit.
2 weeks in a row, man.
He shouldn't touch the ball again. I would deactivate him right now. DeMarcado deactivated right now. What an embarrassing loss. Offensive coordinator trash. Cam Ward trying to give the game away. They got him looking like Dan Marino in the 4th quarter. What an embarrassment of an NFL team the Arizona Cardinals are. Absolutely gutting our Trey McBrides. Nothing from Marv after the first damn quarter. Nada. I mean, get him the ball. Run the offense through Harrison, who looked good. 4 catches, 98 yards, Jay Rich.
Yeah.
Cincinnati.
Very, very minimal.
They garbage time their way to relevancy. Jamar Chase, everybody's like, oh, Chase saved the day. Had 110 yards, Jay Rich. 80 of them came in the 4th quarter on 2 grabs. 2 catches in the 4th quarter, 2 touchdowns, 80 yards. Take that away, Jamar Chase has 30 yards on the game, right? Jake Browning is awful. Washington, LAC, he's very bad. Indy rolled. Geno Smith also.
He's got to be benched, man.
How do you continue with Geno at quarterback? How do you continue with Geno Smith at quarterback? And then the report came out that Brock Bowers' knee is so bad he shouldn't have been playing the last couple of games, but they keep putting him out there. How do you continue to justify Geno Smith as the starting quarterback of the Raiders? He's got to lead the league in picks. Got to be number one.
He leads the league in picks. Yeah, he leads the league in picks.
9 interceptions to 6 touchdowns for Geno Smith.
Yeah.
28th in QBR, 38.5 QBR, 28th. Bottom of the barrel quarterback right now.
Yeah. There's no way he should be starting. Like there's no. We talked about it with Joe Flacco. We talked about it with quarterbacks all the time. Like we are at the point where Geno Smith should not be starting anymore. Like he just shouldn't be. There's no indication to say that he is still a competent starting quarterback and should be starting going forward. Like that doesn't exist right now. It just doesn't exist for the Raiders. And it's hurting Ashton Jeanty a ton. And Jeanty was okay in this game because he caught 5 passes for 42 yards, but like, there's just no world where he should still be starting. And that's the biggest problem for me right now with the Raiders is like, they can be a decent team, but you just can't continue to turn the ball over so consistently and expect to even be competitive. I mean, you look at what Indy did. They scored all their points in 2 quarters. They scored 20 points in the second quarter and 20 points in the third quarter and scored 0 points in the first quarter and the fourth quarter. Like, how does that even happen? That's something that you do in NCAA. You don't see that in professional football.
You know who the backup is? Kenny Pickett.
But why is Kenny Pickett worse than Geno Smith the way that Geno Smith's playing? And I think the answer is he's not. He's just not. He's not worse than what we're seeing right now.
I'm going to just be honest. I'm with Waffle House. This is we were very wrong on this situation. We thought that Geno Smith to Las Vegas was going to elevate everybody. Brock Bowers was going to feast. Jeanty didn't have big numbers this game, but he wasn't bad. If you watch the game, Jeanty wasn't bad. They lost their Pro Bowl left tackle, Colton Miller. I believe he's on IR. So the offensive line is a little bit in shambles. But Geno just, he had a QBR of 19 in this game, Jay. QBR of 19. And they were embarrassed by the Indianapolis Colts, who improved to 4-1. Daniel Jones, 2 touchdowns. Efficient day at the office. JT didn't go apeshit from a rushing yard.
Hat-trick, though.
Yeah, I mean, 3 touchdowns. Amir Abdullah scored. Ashton, in best ball, I'm looking to go pick up some Ashton Doolin. Whoever's out there. A-Rich caught a pass, Jerry. A-Rich caught a pass. Jerry, now he threw it. It was tipped, almost picked off. Almost picked. He had to go get it. But yeah, this
big fantasy points for A-Rich.
If you had him,
when I saw A-Rich in the game, I was like, oh, that's how you know it's bad.
That's how you know it's
A-Rich some burn. After all the talk, Daniel Jones is taking a seat with the earpiece in the fourth quarter. It's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing.
And that's where it's like, it's not just Geno's bad. They are losing games in embarrassing fashion. That's the bigger issue here. They're not just losing games. They are getting embarrassed weekly. And if it wasn't for the Arizona Cardinals, this would be the worst loss this weekend. But the Arizona Cardinals are the most embarrassing team in the NFL.
Arizona saved them. Arizona saved them. Let's go 2 more. Let's go. Let's give Dylan Gabriel.
Did you have any comment on Jaden Daniels?
Well,
I thought Jaden Daniels was very good.
We'll get to that one right after this. Quickly, right here, the early morning game. Vikings beat the Browns 21-17.
Takeaways?
Judkins is a stud.
Judkins is very good. And the offensive line isn't too bad for Cleveland either.
Judkins is a stud. And then they had the 50-something yard touchdown run called back. He's
Bell Cow Judkins.
Would you take? I don't know if we did this. Would you take Judkins over Jeanty? Judkins over Jeanty right now.
Man, I don't think you should, but I couldn't blame you if you did. It's probably how I'd say that. I think I still like Jeanty's potential. The Raiders are a disaster though. Like they really are. But if you go, let me see. So Judkins is behind these running backs on KTC currently, Ray.
Okay.
Let me know which ones you would take Quinshon Judkins over. Would you take Quinshon Judkins or Christian McCaffrey?
Seasonal leagues, I mean, McCaffrey's just a tank. Dynasty, I'd
He's
rather
too
have
good,
Judkins. Dynasty, I'd rather have Judkins.
Judkins or Kyren Williams?
Quinshon Judkins. Quinshon.
Judkins or Treyvon Henderson?
He's behind Treyvon Henderson?
No, he's not.
Oh,
Henderson's
God.
falling.
Yes, absolutely Quinshon Judkins.
Okay, so those are the guys that are immediately behind him. Quinshon Judkins or James Cook?
Cook's
it's only
awesome.
One bad game for James Cook.
Cook's awesome. Had Cook scored in the game and played well, people would be like, oh, it's Cook.
Fun.
But Dynasty, you can make the argument for Quinshon Judkins. Yes. Younger, youth, that's the game. Fine. Judkins.
Quinshon Judkins or your boy Devon Achane?
Man, Achane with an absolute stinker, right? My goodness.
Caught that touchdown, though, so it saved his day.
Saved his day, but I'm talking about running the ball. Nothing there. I think people would take Judkins. I don't think anybody would move their Judkins for Achane. Oh, that's the way I'll answer it. I don't think anybody's trading their Judkins to go get Achane.
Quinshon Judkins or Bucky Irving?
Quinshon.
You do like. Wow,
I like Bucky.
Okay, so you do like the Bucs offense too.
I like Tampa Bay's Quinshon.
Quinshon Judkins or Saquon Barkley.
Got to go Judkins, man. The way he's playing. Now I'm not getting 2,000 yards Saquon right now.
No, you're not.
Are we not watching this dude play? He is the offense. He is the engine. He is the epitome of a bell cow running back right now. Like, this is their new age version of Nick Chubb. He's running backs off the top. You're taking Bijan over him. You're taking Jahmyr Gibbs over him in Dynasty. Who else
Genty's
is
next.
Who?
Genty.
Who's after Genty?
Taylor.
Who's after Taylor?
Hampton.
Who's after Hampton?
Barkley. So you'd have him right at 6.
Why not?
James Cook was the only one you kind of thought about, right?
Yeah, Cook was the. Why not?
So you probably have Bijan, Gibbs, Genty, Taylor, Hampton, Judkins, Cook, Bucky, Saquon, Achane, McCaffrey.
I mean, this dude is 72 carries, 347 yards, and he missed the game and barely kind of played in his first game back. Didn't do anything all training camp.
Rookie quarterback under center.
Rookie quarterback
doing
under
nothing
center.
but checking it down.
I thought Gabriel was fine, but not great.
He played within himself.
He played within his game.
Which is what we give quarterbacks credit for that. They don't make mistakes. They got the ball down the field, had some scoring opportunities, but when defenses know it's Judkins or bust and he's still performing, like, that's a testament to Judkins and that offensive line.
Yeah. 100%. All right, Jay, let's end with the Commanders game and talk a little bit about Jayden Daniels getting a big road victory over what I think is a little bit of a problem Chargers team right now. Herbert, 22 for 29, 1 touchdown, interception, got tipped towards the goal line, was sacked. Sacked 4 times, QBR of 58. Jayden Daniels, who the first half of the game, it looked rough. I'm like, man, he can't move around. There's nothing really there. 231, 1 touchdown, only sacked 1 time in this game. Got the ball to Deebo Samuel, Luke McCaffrey, Bill Krosky-Merritt finally had his breakout. Welcome to the NFL moment with 2 touchdowns. Glad they started to feed him a little bit more. No Terry McLaurin. Nothing from Zach Ertz, who was an offer in this game. I don't even know if he got hurt, but he did nothing, and I started him in a league. Yeah, Jay, you got to give Daniels some credit here. It wasn't he won a road game against the Chargers team who I thought would be hungry for a dub, but this O-line is a little bit of a problem. O-line is a little bit of a problem. Without Alt, without Slater, with an injured Becton, O-line is a little bit of a problem. They attempted to get Ladd McConkey going. He scored a touchdown, but ultimately still 3rd in receiving yards on the team. QJ 4 for 40. Keenan Allen 5 for 58. Ladd 5 for 39 with the touchdown. I don't know, Jay. It's 2 losses in a row for this Chargers team. Who they got next?
1 second. The Chargers, they got the Dolphins. But this is Miami, so I'm not gonna rule it out because the Dolphins do play much better in Miami than they do on the road. But yeah, you know what's funny is you look at this box score, you got kind of watch the game and the way it played out. It reminds me a lot of what we saw from Drake May versus Buffalo. He threw the ball to one guy, and that was Stefon Diggs. And Jayden Daniels threw the ball to one guy, and it was Deebo Samuel. And they ran the ball very effectively, which obviously Patriots couldn't do. But they leaned on the 2 guys that they knew they could count on. It was Bill Krosky-Merritt breaking tackles. I believe he was 2nd in the NFL this week in rushing yards over expectation. And Deebo Samuel, who is showing why he's still worthy of being a top receiver in the NFL. Terry McLaurin has not been available. He's been hurt. But it didn't really matter for Jayden Daniels. He got the ball to Deebo Samuel. 8 of Jayden Daniels' 15 completions went to Deebo Samuel, and Deebo Samuel with 88 receptions, 96 yards, and a touchdown on 11 targets. No other player had more than 2 targets in this game. That Trinity score for Deebo is going to be off the charts this week. But how do you feel about Bill going forward? Seems like after a performance like this, he's going to be the guy, especially running the football. But he also caught 2 passes for 39 yards and was 3rd on the team in receiving, only behind Luke McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel.
Great win for the Commanders. We both picked the Chargers at home against this road Commanders team. They had to travel all the way across the country, and they got it done. They got it done, Jay Rich. And most importantly, Jaden Daniels finished the game without setback. He's not going into the week any more injured. I'm sure, customary bumps and bruises and things of that nature, but they kept him pretty clean in the game. He slid when he needed to slide.
One sack.
This Chargers team needs to get it going. I mean, they pulled Justin Herbert out of this one and put Trey Lance in at the end. Just to keep him upright. Von Miller's out there getting sacks, looking like old Denver Broncos version of Von Miller. And Keenan Allen, fastest receiver in NFL history to 1,000 receptions. That happened in the game. And, yeah, good for Keenan Allen, putting up Hall of Fame type numbers for Keenan Allen. I don't know if he's quite there yet, but Hall of Fame type numbers. All right, Jay Rich. I told you we were going to stop at 9:15. It's 9:30. Hit the music. Hit the music, man. Hit the music, Jay. Appreciate everybody being in the building for this Monday sort of instant reactions. What happened over the past weekend of football? We've got a Monday night game, Kansas City and Jacksonville. Keep your eyes and ears peeled on the Xavier Worthy news. Make sure you check out Dynasty Takeaways today. Scott, Connor, and Brandon will be doing that live today on DDFFB. We got some news that we're going to announce on Wednesday about that channel as well, and some other content that is coming. I promise you are not going to want to miss that. Jay Rich, anything you want to say to people before we get out of here today?
No, I hope everyone has a great rest of the week. Obviously, we do have a great Monday Night Football game. I do have the Jags winning. You have the Chiefs. So we'll see what happens. But I'm excited to watch it all go down. Hopefully, Trevor Lawrence can step it up in this game and get a big dub at home.
Y'all are going to have to watch it. I'll be at American Airlines Center tonight. Monday Night Raw is here in Dallas. So we're taking the boys.
Monday Night Raw. Let's go.
We're taking the boys to go see some wrestling tonight, Jay Rich. So I'll be watching on the phone. We got to go watch some wrestling tonight in Dallas.
Sweet.
So, yeah, we got Roman Reigns on tap.
Okay.
CM Punk. Little New Day. Little Penta. Little After Dark shows that don't get aired on Netflix. And old GQ, we got good seats, Jay Rich. You know I ain't sitting up high, baby. We got to add them good seats. But make sure you wake up bright and early on Wednesday with us. We're going to have a great time every time. We love y'all. Hit the thumbs up button, like, comment, subscribe. And we shall see y'all on Wednesday. We out. Peace.